Hello. Welcome to my new session. Today I'm just gonna read or just gonna explain. It's not reading actually, I'm just going to explain you each and everything of these points in this book of Sri Isopanisad. That is the knowledge that brings one nearer to the one step nearer. It's printed wrong out here. One step nearer to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, given by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And I would like to mention that AC stands for Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So he gives many different books. He has written many books on pop and purports. Actually, he is not he written books, but he actually given the purports of various Vedic books or knowledges. Okay, so it doesn't what can I say? It's genuinely helpful for people like us, but yeah, it's not from like he has written or something like that. He has given the purpose, he has given the meanings, each and everything like that. Okay, so here I'm gonna read that he's giving the first introduction to Vedas. That say, ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teaching of the Vedas. Now, what are Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. For teachings of the Vedas are the original knowledge of the ancient India. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subjected to many deficiencies. The difference between a conditioned soul and liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has four kinds of defects. The first defect is that he must commit mistakes. For we always commit mistakes. We are humans. We are made to commit mistakes. For example, in our country, Mahatma Gandhi, a great personality, was considered to be a very great politician, but he committed many mistakes. Even at the last stage of his life, his assistant warned to him that he shouldn't be going to New Delhi for the meeting because he got some news. But Mahatma Gandhi didn't hear and he persisted in going and was killed then and there by famous Nathuram Godse. Even great personalities like Mahatma Gandhi, President Kennedy, there are so many of them make mistakes. To err is human and to forgive is divine. So we have to, what we have to do, we have to be forgiving each and every one, okay, so that our life can become better. This is one defect of the conditioned soul. Another defect is to be in illusion. Illusion means accept something which is not. For example, Maya. That is the word that is used by Srila Prabhupada and many spiritual texts that say Maya is an illusion. This is an illusion of God. This is just here to test us whether or how much big we devotee are, how much a devotee big can be, how can more can be surrendered to God, and many things. What is not is Maya. So that means this total thing is an illusion. Our body is not with ourselves, our mind is not with ourselves, but we are all souls. We are not the mind, we are not the body. Therefore, everything is Maya. Even this is what can I say, materialistic world, which is Maya, but the spiritual world is completely of God. So he's been discussing in the next few things. I have taken long terms, big terms, but this is what he speaks of. And everyone is accepting the body as the self. He mentions that everybody is accepting the body as the self. If I ask you what you are, you will say I am Mr. John, or I am a rich man, I am this, I am that. Then all these are bodily identifications, but we are not the body. This is a complete illusion. He mentions the third defect is a cheating propensity. Everyone has the propensity to cheat others. Although a person is a fool, number one, he possesses himself as a very intelligent person. This is a complete mistake of a person. Although it is already pointed out that he is in illusion and make mistakes, he will theorize, I think this will happen, this is this, but he does not even know his own position. Even he writes books on philosophy, although he is defective, but he writes that is a disease, that is a complete cheating. Our Guru Maharaj is expressing all these things, that this is a complete cheat. Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We are very proud of our eyes. Often someone will challenge, can you show me God? Can you see God? But do you have the eyes to see God? Yes, our Guru already mentioned that. Do you have the eyes? Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked that God, that show me your transcendental, show me your spiritual form, the Satchidananda Vigraha, the with many forms. The what is your real form? Arjuna asked. But God said that you don't have the eyes to see. Therefore, I am giving you the eyes. I am giving you the power in your eyes to see me. Therefore, this is completely true that we can't see God with our materialistic eyes, or we have just this false eyes or this Maya eyes. Okay, you will never see if you haven't the eyes. It immediately, if the room becomes immediately dark, you cannot even see your own hands. Just testify yourself, and then say all these things. So what power do you have to see? We cannot. Therefore, accept knowledge, that is the Veda, with these imperfect senses, with all these deficiencies in the conditioned life. We cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone, nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are. You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. Our real identification is Varnashrama. Varnashrama denotes the followers of the Vedas, those who accept the human society in 8 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. So here I am going to say that what is Varna and Ashrama in a detailed structure. So Varna is, there are 4 Varnas, and with equivalent there are Ashramas. So the 4 Varnas which are expressed in the Vedas, those are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So therefore I would say that Brahman is the priestly class, the teacher class, the teaching class. Okay, and the Kshatriya is what is called the administrative class, and the things which are in Vaishya are the mercantile group. Okay, the taxpayers, the main structure holders, businessmen, okay, of a society. And if we say about the Shudras, they are the executive class, they are the servicing class. They service each other, they service the people, they service the people of the higher parts, higher varnas. And therefore these can be in an ashram. Ashram is something like, they are also in 4 parts that the ashram has been divided. The first of all is the Brahmacharya ashram, then is the Grihastha ashram, then there's the Varnapastha ashram, and then there is the what can I say? It's a Sannyas ashrama. So the various ashrams has been described. So what is Brahmacharya? That is full of semen retention. Okay, and you have to like control your semen. You can't get attracted to someone. You have to be in a spiritual path. And after what is Grihastha, that you get married, you can't control your desires, that your desires have been pented up. It's like from 18 to 24 there are highest testosterone levels in a male body. So the problem is that sometimes they were able to control, but sometimes they were unable to control. But it is only advised that you go to a Grihastha or a married life, suppose, because only if you have controlled over the past few decades or past few decades, years of your life, that you have controlled your grudges, senses, so that you can be make a good Grihastha. And then after that comes Vanprastha, that is that you stay with your wife together. Okay, you have children, they are gone off or they have been taking care of you, but you are staying with your wife, and that's for the emotional support, not for any sexual grudges to be exchanged or nothing like that. They are just supporting each other. That's just a support. And sannyasa is just when become alone. Okay, even eventually your partner dies and the other partner separates, or whatever happens, they go into sannyas. Even they can stay together, but they go into sannyas. That's a stage of life when they do lot more sadhana, lot more japa, and by this way they can cultivate themselves, or they can reach God at the very end age of their life. So I think that's a very good things, that are the very good ashrama, that are the 4 stages of life which has been discussed, and that is actually super excellent. And the words that are used by His Grace is just, you can't just you can't say that this is awesome. There is no words that can be used to describe it awesome. It's awesome of the awesome of the awesome, that it's transcendental. It's transcendental. There are four divisions of society and the divisions of the spiritual life. It's called Varnashrama. This stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4.13. These divisions are everywhere because they are created by God. The divisions of society are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. As I have mentioned, Brahmana refers to the very intelligent class of men, those who know what is Brahmana. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, the administrator group, and the next intelligent class of men, then the Vaishyas, the mercantile group. These natural classifications are found everywhere. There is a Vedic principle, and we accept it. Vedic principles are accepted as an axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. That is acceptance. For instance, in India, cow dung is accepted as a pure, and yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. In one place you will find the Vedic injunction that if you touch stool you have to take a bath immediately, but the other place it is said that the stool of a cow is pure. If you smear cow dung in an impure place, that place becomes pure. With our ordinary sense, we can argue this is contradictory. Actually, it is contradictory from the ordinary point of view, but it is not false. A very prominent scientist and doctor analyzed cow dung and found that it contains all the antiseptic properties. In India, if one person tells another, you must go do this, the other party must say, what do you mean? Is this a Vedic injunction that I have to follow you without an argument? Vedic injunctions cannot be interpreted, but ultimately, if you carefully study why these injunctions are there, you will find that they are all correct. The Vedas are not compilations of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from the Lord of Krishna. Lord Krishna, that is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Another name of the Vedas is Shruti. Shruti refers to the knowledge that is acquired by hearing. It is not experimental knowledge. Shruti is considered to be like the mother. We take so much knowledge from our mother. For example, if you want to know who your father is, who can answer you? Your mother can. If the mother says, here's your father, you have to accept it. It is not possible because that is the supreme authority you have to accept. And there is no other experiment you can find out on it. There are DNA experiments, but will you do it? You believe in your mother, right? Similarly, if you want to know something beyond your expertise or experience, beyond your experimental knowledge, beyond the activities of the senses, then you have to accept the Vedas. There is no question of experimenting. It has already been experimented. It is already settled. The version of the mother, for instance, has to be accepted as a truth. There is no other way. The Vedas are considered to be the mother, and the Brahma is called the grandfather, the forefather, because he was the first to be instructed in the Vedic knowledge. In the beginning, the first living creature was Brahma. He received the Vedic knowledge and imparted it to Narada and other disciples and sons, and they also distributed it to their disciples. In this way, the Vedic knowledge comes down by disciplic succession. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that the Vedic knowledge is understood in this way. If you make experimental endeavor, you come to the same conclusion, but just to save time, you should accept. If you want to know who your father is, and if you accept your mother as the authority, as I was just mentioning, the mother has been mentioned as the authority, then whatever she says can be accepted without an argument. There are three kinds of evidence: Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda. Pratyaksha means direct evidence. Direct evidence is not very good because our senses are not perfect. We are seeing the sun daily, and it appears to us just like a small disk, but it is actually very, very far, larger than many planets. Of what value is this seeing? Is there any value? We cannot hold, because it cannot be measured scientifically by incorrect measurements. Therefore, of what value it is? Therefore, we have to read books, then we can understand about the sun. So direct experience is not perfect. Then there is Anumana, inductive knowledge. It may be like this. Hypothesis, for instance, Darwin's theory said that it may be like this, it may be like that, that we come from animals and the neck of the giraffe has gone bigger because of its changing habits, its metabolic habits, its eating habits. But that is not science, that is a suggestion. Please remember that this is a suggestion, and it is also not perfect because he was just as a materialistic man, a conditioned soul like us. He was not God. But if you receive the knowledge from the authoritative sources, that is perfect. If you receive the program guide from the radio station authorities, you accept it, you don't deny it, you don't have to make an experiment because it is received from the authoritative sources. Vedic knowledge is called Shabda Pramana. Another name is Shruti. Shruti means that this knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. The Vedas instruct that in order to understand transcendental knowledge, or whatever I say, transcendental knowledge, we have to hear that from that authority. Transcendental knowledge is knowledge from beyond the universe. Within the universe is the material knowledge, and beyond this universe is the transcendental knowledge. We cannot even go to the end of the universe, so how can we go to the spiritual world? Thus to acquire full knowledge is impossible. There is a spiritual sky, there is another nature which is beyond manifestation and non-manifestation, but how will you know that there is a sky where the planets and inhabitants are eternal? All this knowledge is there, but but how will you make experiments? It is not even possible. Therefore you have to take the assistance of the Vedas, that is the mother, and which we have to accept as our supreme authority. This is called the Vedic knowledge. In our Krishna conscious movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, Krishna. Krishna is accepted as the highest authority by all classes of men. I am speaking of the two class of transcendentalists. One class of transcendentalists called the impersonalistic Mayavadi. They believe that there is only light, there is only one light, and they believe in the words moksha, and they also believe that the soul will be mixed with the Supreme Personality, or whatever there is Lord or God. So that they have just reached to the effulgence of the Lord, but they have not reached to Satchidananda Vigraha. That is the original form, the form of the Lord. That is so beautiful, that no one can even deny it. It is the beautifulest of the beautifulest of the beautifulest, most beautiful. Okay, nothing can be more beautiful than the feet of the Lord, the eyes of the Lord, the love of the Lord, the chest of the Lord, the hands of the Lord. This is just Lord, and Lord is God. Okay, and they are generally known as Vedantists. So the Mayavadis are known as Vedantists, and they led by Shankaracharya. Actually, the people who meditate are basically of that kind of sampradaya, or from that group of Vedantists or personalistic Mayavadi. But the person who are in bhaktis as well as for in knowledge, they have the full potencies. Therefore they are called as Vaishnavas, so better known as, because what I feel is that like this, that sadhana is only because Lord Shiva, actually they are been taking the examples of Lord Shiva. Yes, he used to meditate, but that is his way. But they, from Kali Yuga, from expecting or from get released from this bondage of Kali Yuga, we have to do three things at the same time. That is by acquiring knowledge, by chanting, that is by sadhana, and also by bhakti. Three things are required, and there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnavas, like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami. Both of the Shankara Sampradaya and Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of the Godhead. Shankaracharya is supposed to be an impersonalist, supposed to be who preached impersonalism, impersonal Brahman. Okay, but it is a fact that he is a covered personalist. In his commentary of the Bhagavad Gita, he wrote, Narayana, supreme personality of the Godhead, is beyond this cosmic manifestation. And then again he confirmed that the supreme personality of Godhead, Narayana, is the Krishna. He has come as a son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He particularly mentioned that the names of his father and mother, so Krishna is accepted as the supreme personality of the Godhead by all the transcendentalists. There is no doubt about it. Our source of knowledge is Krishna conscious. In the Bhagavad Gita, which comes directly from Krishna, we have published Bhagavad Gita as it is, because we accept Krishna as he is speaking without interpretation. That is the Vedic knowledge. Since the Vedic knowledge is pure, we accept it. Whatever Krishna says, we accept. This is the Krishna consciousness. That saves much time. If you accept the right authority or source of knowledge, then you save much time. For example, there are two systems of knowledge, the material world, inductive and deductive. From the deductive view, accept the man is mortal. Your father says your man is mortal, your mother says man is mortal, everyone says man is mortal, but you do not experiment. You accept it as a fact that the man is mortal. If you want to research to find out whether man is mortal, you have to study each and every every man, and you may come to think that there may be some man who is not dying, but you have not seen him yet. That is the difference between science and spirituality. Science is just vague, science is bogus, science is just absolute lies. It is based on suggestions and people just accept it like nothing else. But spirituality has evidence, you can connect it with your real life. Therefore, I would advise you to buy Bhagavad Gita and read it. Read it so much that your brain becomes completely purified, your mind becomes purified, your soul becomes purified, your body becomes purified. And you have to study each and every man, and you may come to think that there may be some man who is, but you have not seen him yet. So in the way you research will never be finished. In Sanskrit, this process called aroha, the ascending process. If you want to attain knowledge by any personal endeavor, by exercising your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusions. That is not possible. There is statement in the Brahma Samhita, just ride on the airplane which runs at the speed of mind. Our material airplanes can run 2000 miles per hour. But what is the speed of mind? You're sitting at home, but you immediately think of India, say 10,000 miles away, and at once it is in your home, your mind has gone there. The mind's speed is so swift. Therefore, it is stated, if you travel at the speed for millions of years, you will find that the spiritual sky is unlimited. It is not possible even to approach it. Therefore, the Vedic injunction is that one must approach the world. Compulsory is used as a bona fide spiritual master or guru. And what is the qualification of a spiritual master? He is the one who has rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source, and he must practically be firmly established as a Brahman. There are two qualities he must have. I would rather say that there should be four qualities. One, who believes in the procedures or the processes of their gurus. Okay, that is a real guru. And the two sources, that he is a Brahman, and the third, he has the perfect and the correct knowledge, and fourth, he also spreads the correct knowledge among his students, and therefore they can continue the giving of this knowledge to the other people, so that the other people can be in a beneficial use, can take them as a beneficial use. The Krishna conscious movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. The Brahma Samhita has also stated Krishna Govinda is the innumerable form, but they are all one. As I have said earlier, the Rig Veda mentions the Govindam Adi Purushottam. Therefore, Govinda is the Adi Purush. Govinda is the first person. He is the supreme personality of the Godhead. Such good words have been described by our Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, there are not like forms which are fallible. His form is infallible. My form has a beginning, but his form has no beginning. It is Ananta, and his form so many multiforms and has no end. My form is sitting here, but not in my apartment. You are sitting here, not in your house, apartment, school, places of your work. But Krishna can be everywhere at one single time. He can sit down in Golok Vrindavana, and at the same time he is everywhere, all pervading. He is original, the oldest, but whenever you look at a picture of Krishna, you will find a young boy between 15 or 20 years old. You will never find an old man. You have seen pictures of Krishna as a charioteer on the Bhagavad Gita, and that time he was not less than 100 years old. He has great grandchildren, but he looked just like a boy. Krishna God never becomes old. That is his supreme power. And if you want to search out Krishna by studying the Vedic literature, then you will be baffled. It may be possible, but it is very difficult, but you can easily learn about him from his devotees. His devotee can deliver him to you. Here he is taking Krishna, that is the potency of Krishna's devotees or Lord's devotees. Okay, originally there are the only one Veda, and there was no necessity of reading it. People were so intelligent that they can remember by just hearing from the lips of the spiritual master. They would understand. They would immediately grasp the whole purport. But 5,000 years ago, Vyasdeva put the Vedas in writing of the people in this age of Kali Yuga. He knew that eventually the people would be short-lived, their memories would be very poor, and their intelligence would not be very sharp. Therefore, let me teach the Vedic knowledge in the writing. He divided the Vedas in four: Rig, Shama, Atharva, Yajur. Then he gave the charges of these Vedas to the different disciples. He then thought of less intelligent class of men, Sri, Shudra, Dvija, Bandhu. He considered the woman class and the Shudra class, the worker class, and the Dvija Bandhu. Dvija Bandhu refers or I would pronounce it in the Bengali way, that is the DJ Bandhu, or the Dijo Bandhu, refers to those who are born in the high family but who are not properly qualified. Like today's Brahmanas, my friend is a Brahman but he knows nothing about the scriptures or anything. He just got his what can I say, Janayu, or that secret thread that wraps around the neck, and he just does Gayatri without even I think so that he might have not known the meaning, or may have known, but he have not complete belief in, what can I say, in the scriptures, or he has not read any scriptures. He's just like a normal person pursuing for engineering, and I think he has scored very much well, and he got an engineering college in India right now. Man who is born as Brahman is not qualified as a Brahman is called Dija Bandhu. For this persons, he compiled the Mahabharata, called the history of India, and the 18 Puranas. They are all part of the Vedic literature. The Puranas, the Mahabharata, the 4 Vedas, and the Upanishads. The Upanishads are the part of Vedas. The Vyasdeva then summarized all the Vedic knowledge for scholars and philosophers is what is called the Vedanta Sutra. This is the last word of the Vedas. Vyasa personally wrote the Vedanta Sutra under the instructions of Narada, his Guru Maharaja, spiritual master, but still is not satisfied. That is a long story described in Srimad Bhagavatam, and I hope that you would read Srimad Bhagavatam for more deep understanding of the philosophy of the Vedas, that what happened, what was the thing, how did even the Narada, that is the spiritual master, how come he know that Krishna is the supreme personality of the Lord, and he went on preaching others and his dear students that what was the main aim, what is the focus, what is the real truth actually. So that is the thing. Vedvyasa was not very satisfied even after compiling many Puranas and Upanishads, and even after writing the Vedanta Sutra. Then his spiritual master Narada instructed him, you explain the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means the ultimate knowledge, and the ultimate knowledge is Krishna. Krishna says that throughout all the Vedas one has to understand him. Vedanta Kurt, Vedanta Vid, Evam Chaham. Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra, and I am the knower of all the Vedas. Therefore the ultimate objective is Krishna. That is explained in all the Vaishnava commentaries on the Vedanta philosophy. We, the Gauriya Vaishnavas, have our commentary on the Vedanta philosophy called the Govinda Bhashya by Valdeva Vidya Bhushana. Similarly, Ramanujacharya commentary and Madhacharya has one. The version of Shankaracharya is not the only commentary. There are many Vedanta commentaries, but because the Vaishnavas did not prepare or present the first Vedanta commentary, people are under the wrong impression that Shankaracharya is the only Vedanta commentary. Besides that, Vyasdeva himself wrote the perfect Vedanta commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the first words of the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Ashayata. And that Janmadi Ashayada is fully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedanta Sutra simply hints at what is Brahman, the absolute truth. The absolute truth is that from whom everything emanates. That is the summary, but it explained in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. If everything is emanating from the absolute world, then what is the nature of the absolute truth? That is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth must be consciousness. He is self-effulgent Swarat. We develop our consciousness and knowledge by receiving knowledge from others, but for him it is said that he is self-effulgent. The whole summary of the Vedic knowledge is the Vedanta Sutra, and the Vedanta Sutra is explained by the writer himself in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We finally request those who are actually after Vedic knowledge to try to understand the explanation of the Vedic knowledge from the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. This speech was delivered as a lecture, as I would say this is a lecture, of course, by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada on October 6, 1969 at Conway Hall, London, England. Therefore, I would like to mention very few things about this Sri Isopanishad. I have been describing this book of Sri Isopanishad. It doesn't have all the shlokas of the Sri Isopanishad, but it has about 18 shlokas, those 18 gems, I would say, of the Upanishads. And as he have mentioned that that is the nectar, the Upanishads and Vedas and Srimad Bhagavatam and Gita you should read to understand the deep philosophy, that there is not an effulgence which is the Lord, as the Buddhists believe that effulgence is the Lord, that there is moksha, and Buddhist people said that yes, we need to reject the all these Vedas, all these things, because at that time it was a huge problem in India. Only the rich could do the sacrifices, only, and only the rich, the priestly or the rich class were only to afford with such facilities, but the poor class couldn't, and therefore lot of inhuman practices were there, and lot of cruel punishments were made, and many things happened. Therefore Lord Buddha came. He's also part of Narayana, but the thing is that that was for that time period only, but for now, to understand the people, because it's irrelevant now, because government does, but not in that in cruel way. Okay, and there are not many problems or aesthetics right now, or many hurdles to do or follow some religion, or follow religion. So I would say that Hinduism is the oldest of all, and it has the rich knowledge, and it has a lot of things in it. I have just tried to give a basic example or a basic way, and from the next class, or from the next I would say talk or speech, you would be going to hear my vivid description about Sri Isopanisad. I will be uploading about 18 videos from next. Please subscribe, and please try to donate. If anyone interested, just ping me up in the comments that if you just want to donate, because it's for a good cause, it's for feeding the poor children. I would definitely donate, and I will even share the screenshot or the payment gateway that is there with all the people. I would post it in the community. Thank you all. Subscribe please.